after working in healthcare, it would be to just go live your life. Don't wait until you're retired. Don't wait until your kids are grown. Life is too unfair and too unpredictable to just wait for when. I've seen too many people, and I've known too many people that wait until they retire to start enjoying their life, and they never make it there. A co-worker of mine passed away this morning, and worked all up until the day he started chemotherapy, and then never went into remission, and never got to enjoy that time with his family when he retired. My husband's patient 2 weeks ago retired, worked his whole life, and 3 days later had a massive heart attack and died. And then friends of ours last year, his dad got diagnosed with glioblastoma at 55, and 3 months later passed away. Had all these things planned for when they retired.
So I agree with a lot of what this young lady is saying, and my heart breaks for the people that she's talking about she's lost. But this is kind of a fine line. Do I get where she's coming from, where she says that you should focus on now and what's important now, your family, your kids? I do, because life is unpredictable, as she says. You could be here today, gone tomorrow. But the way I've always heard it is live like there's no tomorrow, but plan like there is. So the craziness in that is there's a fine line, because if you're living for the moment, you can make a lot of bad choices that can affect you in the long run. So you heard her talk about somebody that just passed away, a coworker, I believe she said. It was his time. I'm a firm believer that when it's time for God to call you home, there's nothing you or I can do to change it. But the sad thing about it is, what if God hadn't called him home? What if he had given him another 20, 30 years to live? You don't know. So my advice would be to live each day like it's your last, like live it to the fullest, but also plan and prepare for the future.
And my advice is don't wait for when. Just take the vacation, spend time with your kids, take the time off. Like, it doesn't matter, because who knows what life's gonna look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and you'll never get that time back.
3-week vacation while being in debt, and I get a lot of criticism for that. So let me explain why I don't just save my money. So this trip is not just a vacation. It's a road trip with my dad, who's getting old, and he probably won't be healthy enough forever to take a trip like this, and probably isn't healthy enough as it is to go on hikes throughout the national parks that we're visiting. So it's something that he's wanted to do his whole life, but hasn't been able to, because he's always had to work 24/7 to support his family, but finally has enough time and money to go on this trip. And so it's something that's more important than money, because you can always make money, but you can never go back in time and create moments like this. So yes, I am going to go on this trip, and luckily my employer graciously told me that my job will be waiting for me when I get back. So that's a big lift off my shoulders. And after the trip, we will start that emergency fund that you guys really want me to start. We'll start the high yield savings account, and then after that, I'll continue to show you guys how I invest my money and how I save it, and where I, place my money, what accounts and all that. So anyways, that's it.
I give this young man a lot of credit. Just being a little transparent. I'm pushing close to 60, and my wife and I have 4 adult kids. And I understand, because right now they're building their families, and we don't get to see them as much as we'd like to. But the sad thing about it is, this young man is recognizing that his dad's not going to be around forever, and to take advantage of the time, just like we desire for our children. So just keep that in mind. None of us are promised tomorrow, and take advantage of the time that you have. God willing, if this young man lives long enough, this may be the only time he has with his dad, but he has the rest of his life, God willing, he lives that long, to invest and save and do other things. But in this moment, he at least has the time and the memories to build with his dad that'll carry on forever, even after his dad is gone.
3 days
years ago, I was on vacation in New York, and now I'm on vacation in the Dominican Republic, drinking out of a coconut on the beach. And there's no hack. I'm not rich. I'm just 21 with no bills, and I make poor financial decisions. But at the end of the day, life gonna keep life in, so I'm gonna keep living. Amen.
I love what she said. She said, I make poor financial decisions. At least she's honest and she owns it.
I knew this was coming, but I was just kind of waiting for it to happen. I got my first comment today about how I am planning on traveling, or I'm traveling, but I also am in debt. I have just under $31,000 in debt between credit card, taxes, car, student loan. And I'm just going to make one thing very clear. I'm going to live my life. I am going to take however much amount of money, whether it's $2,000 that I'm saving up, and put it towards travel versus putting it towards my debt. I'm going to do that. I'm 29 years old. I have no kids, no responsibilities aside from my bills, which I pay every month. I'm going to take my money and I'm going to go on vacation. Okay? If you're somebody who has debt and you choose to not focus at all on any of your wants in life, then you got to do you. I'm going to take my hard-earned money and I'm going to put some of it towards travel, but I'm budgeting for it. I'm not going into further debt to travel, which a lot of people are probably doing and just not telling you and not being open about it. So all I'm going to say is, yes, I have $31,000 in debt and I'm going to go on my vacation with that debt at home. Okay?
I get where she's coming from. It makes a lot of sense. But one thing I just want to share for some of you that are in that Gen Z millennial age range. I'm retired now, and the one thing I will say is you see a lot of videos where people are complaining about wanting to work and how they robbing Peter to pay Paul to try to make ends meet, and that they run out of money before they run out of month. I get all that, but just looking back over my life, these kind of things take time. Nobody arrives as soon as they turn 18 years old. When I look back over my life from the time I was 18 till now, I have worked hard. I have been blessed to have a job, in law enforcement where I was able to stay in that career for over 30 years. And I know other people aren't always able to do that. But it wasn't always fun. I mean, there's been bankruptcies, there's been struggles, there's been debt, there's been bad decisions. It's just part of the journey. So just keep grinding, keep doing your thing. It does get better as long as you keep grinding and you keep doing your thing. You're never a failure unless you quit.
I have a question for the people that go into debt for a vacation. Now, I'm not judging anyone. I 1000% have gone into debt for vacation, which sounds crazy, I know, but I'm in front of you guys because I've made poor financial decisions in my life. Not anymore, haven't made any bad decisions in the last 5 years financially, but I have made poor decisions. And going into debt for a vacation was definitely one of those bad decisions. I will say this was like college age, I have not done it in forever. Anyway, I want to know how you guys feel about it, like how you feel on vacation. Because when I went into debt for vacation in college, I could not enjoy my vacation. It was so hard for me to enjoy my vacation because it's not like you're buying the flights or X, Y, and Z with debt. You're like paying for everything on the vacation in debt. It's like your vacation is supposed to be fun and relaxing, but it's not fun and relaxing because you're stressed about all the money you spend. So I think I went on one vacation while I was in debt and got into more debt. And I was like, that was the dumbest thing. Anyway, I'm just curious, do you guys feel that guilt? And is it just you brush it off and you're just like, whatever, I deserve a vacation? Or are you do you feel guilty? I'm telling you, by the end of it, I'm I couldn't even enjoy my vacation because of the anxiety I had about digging myself into more debt doing this. Anyway, no judgment here. I'm just curious because I've been there. I've done that. But like I said, I just could not enjoy the vacation at all. So I will never do that again. I'm here to relax and not stress. Now, when I was paying off my debt, I guess I still kind of am, but all my credit cards, things like that. It's not that we wouldn't go on vacation. The rule of thumb was that we could never go into debt for vacation. And we had to do that vacation cheap as shit. For example, we went on a cruise December of 2022. That's crazy. That really wasn't that long ago. I was in a bunch of credit card debt. Of course, we just moved across the country and we went on a cruise, and you had to make it as cheap as possible. Meaning we had to stay in the stateroom. We couldn't upgrade any of our dinners, nothing like that. We did get to decide one excursion, and it really wasn't even an excursion, but one thing to do. So anyway, if you're in debt and you're no, I deserve a vacation or whatever, at the very least, at the very minimal, don't go into debt for that vacation, okay? At the very least, do it as cheap as possible and save up the money for it. or like pay for it with cash. So that way you can like enjoy it a little bit. But yeah, going into debt for a vacation, especially when you like went to debt for that vacation because you probably were in a lot of other debt. Like you're desperate when you go into debt for vacation, but like I said, been there, done. Is it the smartest decision? Absolutely not, but I totally understand it. Essentially what I'm saying, just at the very least, don't let the vacation put you into even more debt. But yeah, did that one time, paid for a vacation. I probably was 20 years old, paid for a vacation on debt, and it was horrible. I'm telling you, I'm like, And the vacation was cheap, to be honest. I think it was like $700, but it was $700 I did not have. Anyway, remember this because I know spring break and like summer is kind of coming up. There's nothing wrong with family vacation. But like I said, if you were in debt, don't go into more debt for this vacation, like at all. Just save up the money, pay cash for it. And whatever that vacation is, you got to do it as cheap as possible. Give yourself the best of both worlds. But please learn from my mistake. No one needs to go into even, a lot of people do it though. Trust me, a lot of people do it. I even saw some ads for like banks and stuff. I don't know specifically which ones, but come get a loan for your vacation. I'm like, a loan for your vacation? But honestly, at the end of the day, a loan probably would be better than putting it on your credit card because the interest rate's a lot lower. Please don't do that though.
To be as young as she's got a good point. You should never go into debt, period. I always try to come from a biblical perspective, and the Bible says, owe no man nothing but love. So even biblically, God doesn't want us being a slave to the lender. The Bible also says that somebody in debt is a slave to the lender, which you really are if you listen to these stories. The other thing too is, one thing I notice in a lot of these videos is there's a common theme. People, especially young people, need to understand the concept of delayed gratification. A lot of people do this, like going into debt to get vacation or to buy a car or to take out a loan to get things that they can't afford because they're, that old saying, trying to keep up with the Joneses. They don't want to feel like they're missing out on something, so they create these things in order to have now instead of delaying it till later. And it's actually sad because it creates, especially with the ease of credit cards and all that, it just makes it tough on a lot of these people, which it doesn't even have to be. Like I said earlier, just keep grinding, keep doing your thing. You know, I've always had the mindset of, if I have to go out on the side of the freeway and sell peanuts, I'll do it to take care of my family. And a lot of us should have that mentality that you're willing to do whatever you need to do to grind and to generate whatever income that you need to do. A lot of people want everything handed to them. They also struggle with the delayed gratification aspect of things where they want everything right now. And the older I get, the more I realize how wrong that kind of thinking is. So if you're younger and you're watching this video, grasp that now. Delayed gratification. Keep yourself out of debt. One of the things I always tried to implement was 80% of my income I usually put towards expenses and bills. 10% I gave, and then 10% I always put away. And I'm telling you now, I believe there's power in the giving aspect. You know, my wife and I, we tithe at our church, we give, and we have never been in the red. Even when we were struggling and on paper, it didn't make any sense how God sustained us, but he did. So guys, please make sure you hit that like button for the algorithm. Also, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I love you guys, and I will check you on the next one later.